Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I have a special guest. She's an entrepreneur and an accountant, CPA, Certified Public Accountant. Why I'm doing business topic today? Because I think during the pandemic, many people lost their job or many people could not find job. That's why I thought this topic is important, especially if you are women out there and you would like to venture into business. It is good to learn from Tatiana. So I'm going to invite her and you're going to hear from her in more detail. And by the way, if you like this channel, if you like this episode, make sure you subscribe or download and make sure you click like or share. And are you ready to learn from Tatiana? Hi, Tatiana. Thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and experience today. And would you mind talk about your background and would like to introduce yourself?
Sure. Thanks so much for having me on, Sarah. My name is Tatiana Sawyer, and I actually run a couple of businesses. Business number one is my boutique tax and accounting firm in New York, the US, and I work with clients all over the country and also foreign nationals as well. My second business is my author business. I wrote a book called Dream Bold, Start Smart. The book is for someone who has a business idea, wants to start a business, and cannot afford to fail. Someone who needs a roadmap when it comes to money, numbers, and taxes. And then my third business is being a mom pivot coach, helping women after they've become mothers, helping them pivot and find something that's theirs, something that's meaningful for them, but also brings them a significant amount of money while allowing them to be the mom that they want to be. So I'm really happy to be here on your show, and I'm looking forward to our conversation.
That's great. Wow, you are so accomplished. Would it be possible to talk more about your book? It sounds interesting.
Absolutely. So the reason that I actually started writing a book in general, or wanted to write a book for a couple of years, was because I thought, a book could serve as a business card for my business. Mm-hmm. Then, this journey was interesting because I came across quite a few influential authors who actually made a career out of being an author. So I was invited to an event. It was called Author Up Live. The event was hosted by Mike Michalowicz, a very prominent author, very successful author. He wrote Profit First, and that's where his huge success really took off as an author and as a business coach, I guess. So he invited me to that event. And as I was sitting there listening to book promotion strategies and book writing strategies, I realized that writing a business card book is no longer for me. I wanted to write a book that changes people's lives. And I just could never go back to just writing a book that's just a business card book. That's not really a book. It's more of a, you wrote something and it's out there and that's it. So the reason that I've picked this specific topic is that because over the kind of course of my career, of my main business, which is the tax and accounting firm, I really stopped working with startups. So I stopped working with businesses that are just starting out because oftentimes they wouldn't have the budget for someone like me. But what I also realized at the same time was that they're the ones who often need that deep expertise most. So I wanted to create something. I wanted to fill that void and create something that would give them a roadmap, give them a boost, a jump start when it comes to all the financial matters. Because a client of mine once said that, he told me accountants don't start businesses, visionaries do. And he was absolutely right, because when we accountants look at, first of all, let me just say that most accountants don't even treat their own business as a business. It's just something they do. They get a lot of money or a decent amount of money for it, and that's really it. But when you are starting a business or thinking of starting a business, accountants would run the numbers. Oh, the math doesn't work. Fine, I'm not going to do it. And that's the end of it. Visionaries are people who start businesses and have a vision, whether that vision is changing people's lives or something else, or maybe changing their own life, or they have a skill or a passion for something. Typically, last thing they think about is numbers. And they're the ones who are in need of expertise of someone like me most. So when I was thinking, about what is it that I'm going to write about and who it's going to be for, I imagined all of these clients who've come to me after they've already made some mistakes, after they've already lost some money in their entrepreneurial journey, and they were finally financially ready to work with someone like me. But I found myself thinking that I wish that they skipped all those mistakes. I wish that they've started better. I wish that they've known some of the basic things that every entrepreneur should know. So this book came as a result of that. I wanted to serve the people. I wanted to serve people who want to start businesses, because if you do it right and if you have a vision, it's really amazing what you can do. And small businesses are definitely prevalent in the United States, and businesses change the world. They're not always remaining small businesses, but they grow and develop and change the world in many ways. And even if that world is just a little town or a little county somewhere in the US, it's still changing the cycle. It's still making the lives of people better. So I was really excited to come across some of the most amazing authors that really influenced me writing this book. And the book is a roadmap for someone who wants to start a business or who's early into a business and wants to make sure that they're doing everything right.
That is really, really helpful. And what stage are you now in your business? How many years have you been involving in this helping people venture into business, especially from hobby to business? I wonder, like, how long have you been there and what you need to know to move from hobbies to business, like, for example, for myself.
So what I've noticed I've worked with small businesses over the last 16 years. I've done bookkeeping first, then controller type work. So analyzing reports, setting performance indicators and things like that. But, then I've added tax, and I've been in tax over the past 11 years. And I've mostly worked with small businesses and their owners. So for me, it was a no-brainer that's my audience. That's really the people who need help most to make it successful. So what I've noticed also that all those visionaries often set the financial side, kind of put it on the back burner. Maybe some of them even hope that it will just get resolved on its own. Some of them think that, everybody else has got it and it's just going to happen automatically. Somehow it will work out. So that's where hobby and business differ, because if you remove the money, numbers, and tax aspect out of any activity, it's just a hobby.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's an expensive hobby. So
yeah, for me, it's an expensive hobby.
So when you remove that component, the financial component, it's no longer a business. So if you want to have a business, even if it's a side business for now, treat it as such, treat it with respect, treat it as a business, which means you have to set goals for yourself, financial goals. You have to make sure that you know your expenses. You have to make sure that you address taxes and you understand the cycle of your own business. And you know how to handle money. You know that you will never run out of cash. All of those things play into it being a business as opposed to being a hobby.
Wow. How do you know that you should turn your hobby to business? For example, for me, having my YouTube channel is my hobby. Having my podcast is a hobby because I like to share what I learned in life, so that people can benefit from it if they think that is relevant for them. And Taekwondo, I started Taekwondo when I was a kid, and many people ask me, "Oh, Sarah, why don't you open a Taekwondo school?" And now during the pandemic, I realized that maybe I should start an online school, because before the pandemic, I was thinking about having my own Taekwondo school. It's just part of my hobby. But then this COVID pandemic came, I thought, maybe I should change my strategy. Yeah. So what do you think about that? And also, what are the three critical decisions to make when starting uh, any business?
So when it comes to the Taekwondo that you mentioned, and just how people can figure out how to make a business out of something, it should come from the service mindset. What are you people that you're most close with mentally, where they are in their journey? What do they have in common? What are they struggling with? What help do they need? That's how this book was published, is because I wanted to, my dream is so that everyone starts a business better. Everyone follows the steps and doesn't waste money, doesn't waste time, and actually builds a solid business. So that's where this other business, second business, came from, really. My main business, my tax and accounting boutique firm in New York, that came, it came from having a skill, but then now it grew into a company that I don't just do the work. I also coach clients how to be better. Yes, they pay for it, but I also help them to be better CEOs, to become the CEOs, even if it's a small business, to become the CEOs of their own business and their own life. So when you are starting a business or thinking about, just pursuing a passion or a skill on the side, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Nobody says that you should go full scale right away. I'm one of the people that actually believes in having no debt. And I also believe in following your heart, but doing it responsibly. If you quit your job and start pursuing this business, yes, you will get there faster. But what if? And that what if will cause you a lot of anxiety. So why dive all in? I mean, it's okay to dive all in when the circumstances are right, when everything is aligned. But if you have a choice, then why dive all in? Why not start with some of the basic foundational stuff? So going back to the three decisions that you need to make, is you need to understand whom you're serving and why would they buy from you. It's not really a marketing thing, because I'm not a great marketing person. I have help that handles the marketing for me. So I wouldn't be able to advise you on marketing, but you need to understand the business model. What is the business model? And I had a client who came over a couple of years ago, 3 or 4 years ago, and they were excited. They were, everybody wanted to be the next Facebook and things like that. And so this client came and said, well, we want to have this platform that will connect this user with this user. So I said, well, who's going to pay you? Who are you going to charge? And they couldn't answer that, because they didn't know, why would people pay them for this connection, for this platform? And why would it make sense for them to pay the, my client's platform to get connected with other people? Why can't they connect to them in some other way? So that's why that is the number one step, that whenever you have an idea, whom are you serving? What is that customer pool like? Why would they buy from you? And how are you going to make money? Answer those questions, and don't settle until you've really found the truth for yourself. And it may take a few days, but it also can take a few months to figure that out. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's a really good book that I want to recommend that I think can help with these questions, and also other questions that you may ask yourself. It's called The Road Less Stupid. It was written by Keith Cunningham, and he has been in business for a number of decades and lost it all during the real estate crisis and things like that. But it's amazing, the things that he shares and he forces you to think about is just amazing. So if you're kind of starting out or just planning or aren't sure how to proceed and how to grow, get that book, read it, and spend some time thinking about your business. That's all it takes, really. Number 2 decision to make is what to charge. And there's a whole science called price psychology related to that. That's a decision that you will need to make. And what I want to urge people listening and watching this not to do is look at somebody else, how somebody else is charging for their product or service. Because Apple computers, They don't look at other companies, how PCs are priced. They don't care.
Yeah.
So make a decision whether you're going to be the low cost person or you're going to be a high value person, your business. And then based on that decision, make your choices. You don't have to be like everyone else. And it's okay to work with less clients, but your target clients who are willing to pay you money. It's okay. Number 3 decision is really a commitment part. I have a book experience. So if you buy a physical book, you get a little booklet at the end, and it gives you a code that is redeemable for Ask Me Anything sessions that I actually will be holding in September, starting September for a few weeks. And also pre-recorded interviews with successful entrepreneurs. And one of the interviews is actually with this woman, Susan, who has built a really good living being an artist. And we had a conversation, and at the interview, we talked about the fact that a lot of parents don't like their kids to get involved with art because there's this common perception that artists are destined for poverty.
Oh, no, yeah.
But it's actually not true.
Yeah.
But it's actually not true. The problem with artists often ending up in poverty, or rather, with very limited means, is not that art by itself is not profitable. It is. It's the lack of commitment to your own skill or your own passion, or both. And that, Susan has made a living being a singer for 20 years, a really good living. She owns 2 properties. She owns her studio. Then she switched, and now she's been a portrait photographer for the last 15 or 16 years. And she has passion for other things. She doesn't love everything she does, but she's also extremely intelligent and smart about her business and her art. And she's in this interview, she talked about the fact that people think that either you're a poor artist or you're a Madonna, and there's nothing in between. But the fact of the matter is there's a lot in between. There's a lot of money to be made before you even get to this Madonna status, and you may never get to that status, and that's okay. So I found it really interesting that all it takes is commitment. And she gave us a couple of examples of how often, people start a photography business without really understanding how to make it a real business, how to make a living doing that. So I really enjoy that. So I feel like those are the 3 kind of things that you need to understand as the business, or decide on business model, what to charge, and also commit to your own business. Even if it's a slow process, commitment is key.
Exactly. So commitment, consistency, right? What I learned in Taekwondo also, once you have the vision, once you have the goal, always make sure that you commit and then focus. That's what I learned in pursuing in my Taekwondo Olympic dream. So that was my dream when I was an athlete. I said I wanted to go to Olympics. I watch Olympic sports all the time. I watch the Olympic Games all the time, and it appears to me fun and challenging, but also fun. Yeah, so that's why I like to use my hobbies to bless people, and also to help people, whoever they need, to get something out of my experience. I know many people think that, Taekwondo, I don't want to learn Taekwondo. It's martial arts. It's like kicking and punching. It's not about that. It's actually more than that. You learn so many things in Taekwondo besides kicking and punching. Yeah, if you'd like to learn more about it, then you can check out my website. It is confidenceperformance.com. So confidence with a CE, confidenceperformance.com. And I offer a free course. You can go and check it out. Otherwise, you can also use the link confidenceperformance.com/free course. And right, to move on with another question for Tatiana. Your work has been really helpful to many people. What should people think about taxation? I know you're a CPA. Like when you start a business, I often heard from other entrepreneurs, they said about, when you start a business, don't think about getting a lawyer first. Always think about getting an accountant first, then a lawyer. What do you think about it?
I agree, because Lawyers are expensive. I mean, so are good accountants, but there are services that can form an entity for you for very cheap. You don't need an attorney for that. One exception with that is the partnerships. So if you decide to partner up with someone in business, you definitely want a partnership agreement, no question about it. The problem, and usually all the problems that arise from partnerships, come from lack of a executed partnership agreement, so signed. So you have to agree on how you're going to split responsibilities, how you're going to split the money. What if things go south? Who's responsible? Who's going to pay for it? And things like that. So you don't need an attorney unless you're need a partnership agreement, or maybe you're buying into a franchise. Often you will need an attorney to review your agreements. But for a regular small business, you don't necessarily need an attorney. And they're expensive. You can get some templates for legal documents. There is this attorney who was a Harvard lawyer. He sells a online template library for everything that you need for your business, pretty much. It's with explanations. So you get the template and you also have a video explanation so that you can actually make the decisions within the agreement. And it's like $1,000. So if you need more extensive stuff, you can definitely check that out. His name is Bobby Klink. Mm-hmm. If you don't need these basics and you're just starting out and you want to test the waters, there are companies that organize entities for you, and the service is really inexpensive.
Wow, so it's true. Always look for accountant first before you ask for a lawyer's help. Yeah. So what do you think about? You talk about how much we should charge, but what do you think about me? How should I charge my client in terms of individual? I know you talk about we don't have to follow the market. Actually, I do not plan to follow the market, but sometimes I feel that maybe I should give them for free. And then my friends told me that no, you don't give free classes because people tend not to appreciate you if you give too much free time or free classes or free lessons. So you as an entrepreneur and you are a consultant and you're helping many business clients, especially women in business. What do you think about this discussion or this idea?
I've seen a lot of strategies where I've seen very well-known people, well-known in the digital world mostly, well-known people give away, let's say, a free book, their book. Mm-hmm. And I don't support that strategy because whenever I get a free book, it sits on the shelf, it's never read. Mm. So it works well for like a business card book that you don't really put a lot of effort into it and you don't care about the reader. But I wrote my book caring for the reader. I care about what happens to them. I care about how they start their business. And that care of the reader's journey and the reader's experience is really well seen in the book. So why would I give away my free book? That's really something that I never understood and I don't subscribe to. Same thing with the courses. I understand that in order for someone to trust you, you have to give them free value. But it doesn't mean that you give them something that's super valuable free. I think that if you're doing an intro class to Taekwondo and you give it away for free, there's nothing wrong with that. But I think the most important part of that is test it, see how it's going. Start charging $5 for it and see how many people buy. As soon as people pay for something, they're engaged with you. They committed to you for, even if it's only for $5, that's okay. But that allows you to also pay for the advertising, so they cover their own costs, sort of, and also they are committed to you. So everything that you show them afterwards and everything that you offer is not seen as spam. It's more, does this program work for me, or should I ask for more help or less help? What am I doing? So I feel like there's no cookie cutter answer. There's no cookie cutter solution for everyone. But I think that it's important to remember that when you're just starting out and building trust, some programs need, some clients, potential students need to be nurtured. And that's what I found for my other business. I have a couple of courses. One of them is expensive. It's almost $2,000. And that course gives someone a bookkeeping skill that I can hire later, or a colleague of mine can hire someone who's experienced with bookkeeping. So I realized that I can't simply talk to people and say bookkeeping is awesome, it's phenomenal, whatever. I need to build them up to understand why it's a great skill to have for a mom, because there's no emergency in bookkeeping. You can work from anywhere. You can work at different times, whatever works for you and your kids. So you can always be available and be the mom that you want to be. While bookkeeping pays a lot more than, for example, VA service. So as a VA, you can make anywhere from 20 to $40 an hour. As a bookkeeper, you can make anywhere from $30 to $150 an hour, while working flexibly, while doing meaningful work that actually transforms a small business.
Wow, yeah, that's it. That is true. Like, so for why is it so hard or harder for women to do business? Actually, not only to do business but to start business.
I think that we as women, we often underestimate ourselves. We also overthink stuff. I think, but also we're full of fears, especially once we become moms. As we get older, we get more and more fears and concerns, and we got stuff to lose, and we kind of get used to a certain level of comfort or whatever. And I feel like we often, especially when we become mothers, that it becomes even more evident and becomes even harder for us to start something. We don't like risks. People are naturally risk averse. We don't like to lose money. We don't like to lose time. But we also aren't as bullish as often men are.
Mm-hmm.
We are more accepting, not everyone, not across the board, but often that's what I see when I work with people. I see that we're more accepting and we're less risk-taking, even less than everyone else. And that's what it makes it hard for us to start businesses, because we keep thinking, what if I fail? Well, what if you succeed? So I think that that's really important to remember, that as a woman, yes, it's harder for us, but at the same time, women start businesses that are passionate, that are not just about making money. Women start businesses that change and lift economies. And that's what something that I like to say is that if you have this urge, this passion for something, or a skill for something that you see, you have a vision of, you have an obligation to pursue that vision. It doesn't mean it has to happen in 6 months, but it means that you should answer your calling.
Yeah, I feel that I need to answer my calling. Sometimes. Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's a good advice, especially offering free course. Sometimes I feel bad to charge people. I feel that, oh, should I charge them? So yeah, I always get, oh no, it's okay for free. Yeah, it's good. It's a good suggestion. I mean, good advice, not to charge them too much free, because otherwise they will not read the book. For example, they may not do the work. Yeah. And I have another question. It's like, what are the 3 mistakes that that can break our business? It's, let's say, that can break my business, for example. What are the major 3 mistakes I need to be aware of?
Well, number one is taxes. If you don't pay attention to taxes, if you don't make an effort to understand, you don't need to become an accountant to understand that. But you need to understand how it affects your business. And really, that can really break your business if you don't pay attention to it. Sales tax, payroll tax, income tax, business taxes, personal taxes, and everything in between is important. So when we look at that, when we look at these potential mistakes, and I know what the impact of that can be on your business, it can destroy your business if you don't pay attention to it. You need to have a good, solid accountant. Someone who knows what they're doing, and someone who can not only do the taxes, but also do the bookkeeping, because bookkeeping is the cornerstone of your business. Mm-hmm. The second mistake is not paying attention to your cash flow. The most common reason of people going out of business is running out of cash, not being able to pay their bills. Cash management takes effort. Cash management takes planning. And that's really what the problem is often, is that people don't pay attention to cash. I've had clients who are visionaries, huge visionaries. They have nothing to do with accounting or numbers or math or anything. And they force themselves to learn how to manage cash, how to make sure that you bring in enough to cover your expenses and also leave money for yourself. That's where it's tremendous work. It takes often years for people to learn how to do well. For people who are not, for whom numbers is not a second nature, for example. But setting a goal to learn will prevent you from making the mistake of kind of letting it go and managing it kind of like, oh, payment to payment, I'll pay you when I get paid, and that kind of stuff. That's amateur. That's not really a true business owner. So the third mistake is not charging enough, not knowing whether you are low price, in the low price bucket, or if you're in the high value bucket, kind of staying somewhere in between. That's the biggest mistake that also can affect your bottom line. Not only, bottom line, top line, but that can make or break your business, because if you don't charge enough, you will run out of money. That's just plain and simple.
Yeah, I think it's a technical knowledge that every entrepreneur should learn about. I think learn from. That's a good advice, especially for me. I often feel, should I charge more or should I charge less? What if I charge more and people scare off? And what if I don't charge too? What if I charge too little, and people may think that that's not a quality program. It's not good. That's why it's cheap. Yeah, I'm having that issue as well. But thanks for the advice for that. And I think the last but not least question I would like to ask you is how to make a business pandemic proof, especially during this COVID. But I think COVID may continue for a while, because now with the different variants, especially now there's a variant called Delta variants, and people are saying, oh, the fourth wave is coming. So what should we do, and how do you make our business to be pandemic proof?
The most important thing that you should understand for anything, there've been pandemics before, maybe not as global as this one that we've just experienced, but what you need to remember is that every crisis has the public's response. And there's something called, it's not my development, it's somebody else's. I don't even know who actually. There's something called a crisis response curve. And that crisis response curve kind of starts up here with the shock stage. Then it goes down where you're in desperate action stage. Then it goes down kind of levels, bottoms. And that stage is called evaluation stage. After the evaluation comes deliberate action and then growth or whatever. But the idea is that when you understand this curve, the way people respond to a crisis, next time, and I'm sure there's going to be other crises. There was a real estate bubble, there was a pandemic, there was other stuff before, there was AIDS crisis in the 90s, whatever. When you understand the response, the natural response of our brains to a crisis, you understand that the goal for you knowing that and being committed to your business, the goal is to move you from the shock stage past the desperate action stage into evaluation as quickly as possible. Once you're in evaluation stage, businesses that have gotten to that evaluation stage quickly and all of a sudden we're pivoting, we're finding other ways to make revenue to serve people, those were the ones who gotten ahead of the curve. And that's really what everyone should be doing. Everyone should have a plan. Everyone should know their risks and be aware of the fact that this crisis response curve exists so that you can move past the desperate action, past the shock, and move right into evaluation as quickly as possible.
Yeah, good advice. Well, thank you so much for giving us so much valuable advice. Do you have anything to say to the audience before we say goodbye to them?
Well, buy my book.
Good.
If it works for you, great. If it doesn't, give it to somebody else. Authors work hard on their books, and everyone should support authors because it's really hard to get the book out.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that because I also publish a book. My first book in Amazon, you can check it out as well. My book is called Master Your Mind, Master Your Life, How to Achieve Greatness. It's kind of a long title, but that's my first book. We get better for that from that. So yeah, check it out in Amazon. You'll find it out. And thank you so much. Oh, by the way, how can we get your book? By the way, the easiest way also in Amazon.
It's on Amazon, but also you can find the link to that on my website, talktotatiana.com, and sign up for the checklist and get all the other good stuff.
Yeah, make sure you check it out. And that's all for today. And make sure you click like and share with your friends. And bye for now. Take care. Bye.
Thanks.